In 2021, the FDA issued warnings after testing found benzene, a known carcinogen, inside hand soap products that millions of Americans were rubbing into their skin every single day. Benzene, in hand soap, the product you trust to keep your family safe. But grab the wrong bottle and what you're really washing with is hormone disruptors, allergens named Chemical of the Year by dermatologists, and surfactants that crack your skin open for bacteria, all dressed up as gentle daily care. If this has been your go-to brand for 10, 20, 30 years, every chemical we found has been absorbing through your hands that entire time, compounding with every wash. Today we're exposing 11 hand soap brands that failed, including several most people consider gentle and safe. Plus, the 2 brands that actually earned a place at your sink. Coming in at number 11, Softsoap. It's the pump bottle sitting on almost every bathroom counter in America. Familiar, affordable, the soap you grew up with, the one you grabbed without thinking, because your parents used it and the bathroom always smelled fine. Softsoap built decades of trust on that simplicity. But simplicity isn't safety. Multiple dermatology reviews have flagged Softsoap's formulations for containing sodium lauryl sulfate and synthetic fragrances that don't just clean your skin, they strip it. Your skin has a natural moisture barrier, a thin protective layer of oils that keeps bacteria out and hydration locked in. Sodium lauryl sulfate tears through that barrier like sandpaper on wet paper. Every pump, every wash, every rinse pulls more moisture out than it puts back. Now think about what happens after age 50. Your skin is already thinning. It's already producing less oil. It's already more vulnerable to cracking and infection. Adding a soap that actively destroys moisture to skin that's already losing it creates micro cracks you can't even see. Tiny invisible fissures across your hands that become open doors for staph, for strep, for every germ that soap was supposed to wash away. For anyone managing diabetes or taking medications that slow wound healing, or for families with young children whose skin barriers are still forming, those invisible cracks don't close quickly. They linger. They deepen. They become entry points for infections that escalate fast and cost hundreds to treat. Softsoap costs $2 a bottle. Treating a staph infection costs a trip to urgent care. Gentle is printed on the label. The dermatologists reading the ingredient list disagree. If the most familiar soap in America can't protect you, surely the one built specifically for germ defense is safer. Think again. Number 10, Dial. For decades, Dial was the gold standard of antibacterial soap. Hospitals referenced it. Families trusted it. Your grandmother probably kept an orange bar next to every sink in the house because Dial meant clean. Really clean. Doctor recommended clean. Then in 2016, the FDA dropped a ruling that shook the entire industry. Triclosan, the key antibacterial ingredient that made Dial famous, was banned from consumer hand soaps. Not restricted, not reduced. Banned. Studies had linked triclosan to hormone disruption and antibiotic resistance. The chemical marketed as your family's germ shield was potentially rewiring your endocrine system every time you washed your hands. Dial reformulated because they had no choice. But here's what never made the evening news. Millions of loyal customers had been absorbing triclosan through their skin for years, sometimes decades, without knowing it was under investigation the entire time. For anyone over 50 managing thyroid conditions or taking hormone-sensitive medications, or for parents who washed their children's hands with Dial every night before dinner, years of daily triclosan exposure may have been quietly compounding existing health challenges, while the label said protection. That's not a theoretical risk buried in a journal. That's a chemical the FDA studied for years and ultimately removed because the evidence was too alarming to ignore. Dial's reformulated products still rely on aggressive surfactants designed for that squeaky clean feeling people associate with the brand. But that squeak isn't cleanliness. It's the sound of natural oils being stripped bare. The brand built its empire on trust. It collected profits on deception. The gold standard was fool's gold. They changed the formula. They never changed the philosophy. You'd think a brand marketing garden-fresh ingredients and plant-based wellness would be the antidote to harsh industrial chemistry. You'd be wrong. Number 9. Mrs. Meyers Clean Day. Lavender fields on the label. Garden-inspired scents filling your kitchen. The wholesome, plant-derived image that makes health-conscious shoppers feel like they're finally making the smart, safe choice. Mrs. Meyers looks like everything natural hand soap should be. Then you read past the pretty packaging. Testing by organizations like the Environmental Working Group has revealed that those garden-inspired fragrances still contain undisclosed synthetic fragrance compounds behind the botanical imagery. And here's the regulatory loophole that makes it all possible. The FDA does not regulate the term natural for soap products. Any company can print it on any label. Every company does. That lavender scent you love breathing in while you wash the dishes isn't necessarily lavender at all. It could be a cocktail of synthetic chemicals engineered in a laboratory to smell like a garden, delivered in concentrated bursts every time you pump the dispenser in your enclosed kitchen or bathroom. Those fragrance clouds don't just smell pleasant. They enter your airways with every breath. For people with respiratory sensitivities or asthma, or for anyone taking blood pressure medications that make their cardiovascular system more reactive, repeated inhalation of concentrated synthetic fragrance chemicals can trigger measurable airway irritation and elevate blood pressure, not dramatically from one wash, but twice a day, every day, for months and years. The cumulative effect of breathing synthetic compounds in a small bathroom with poor ventilation adds up in ways most people never connect back to their hand soap. A garden on the label, a chemistry lab inside the bottle. Mrs. Meyers sells the fantasy of washing your hands in nature. Your lungs are quietly paying the real price. At least those brands try to seem wholesome. The next one doesn't even bother pretending it's subtle. Number 8. Bath and Body Works. Walk into any Bath and Body Works store and the fragrance hits you before the door closes behind you. That's not ambiance. That's a warning your nose is giving you that your brain has learned to ignore. Their hand soaps rank among the most heavily fragranced consumer products on the American market. Ingredient lists feature multiple synthetic dyes and fragrance compounds that clinical studies have linked to contact dermatitis. Not the mild, temporary kind, the kind that cracks skin, causes bleeding, and refuses to heal for weeks. Picture opening a seasonal collection bottle. Warm vanilla sugar for the holidays, Japanese cherry blossom in spring. The liquid inside is vivid, almost neon. The scent is aggressive, lingering on your hands for hours after you've rinsed and dried. That persistence isn't a sign of quality, it's synthetic chemicals bonding to damaged skin cells and refusing to let go. For adults over 50 on blood thinners or corticosteroids, or for families with children whose developing skin lacks adult protective barriers, the chronic irritation these heavily fragrant soaps cause creates wounds that heal dangerously slowly. Blood thinners already impair your body's clotting ability. Corticosteroids already thin your skin. Add a soap that aggressively cracks and irritates that compromised surface twice a day, and you've created a damage cycle your own medications can't keep pace with. Bath and Body Works has generated billions in revenue selling fragrance as a lifestyle accessory. They turned hand washing into a collectible seasonal event. $12 for a soap that wounds the hands it claims to pamper. Seasonal scents, year-round skin damage. You'd think skipping the fancy stuff and going budget would at least give you something honest. Number 7. Suave. No pretense here, no garden imagery, no seasonal collections, just affordable soap that claims to do the job without the markup. Suave has positioned itself for decades as the no-nonsense brand for people who don't want to overpay for basics. But cheap ingredients come with expensive consequences nobody prints on the label. Consumer advocacy reviews have documented that Suave hand soaps lean heavily on sulfate surfactants and synthetic preservatives, including one called methylisothiazolinone. That chemical name might mean nothing to you. It meant everything to the American Contact Dermatitis Society. They named methylisothiazolinone their allergen of the year. The single worst contact allergen dermatologists encountered that year, sitting in your budget hand soap dispenser right next to the kitchen sink. This preservative triggers allergic reactions that go far beyond simple dryness. We're talking redness, swelling, cracking, blistering. The kind of reaction that sends people to dermatologists wondering what's suddenly wrong with their hands, never suspecting the dollar soap they've used for years. For people managing eczema, psoriasis, or compromised immune systems, or for anyone whose daily medication already taxes their body's inflammatory response, methylisothiazolinone is a chemical trigger sitting on the counter in plain sight. And here's a consequence almost nobody considers. Persistent skin inflammation from allergens like this one can actually interfere with the absorption of topical medications prescribed for joint pain, skin conditions, or circulation problems. The inflamed barrier blocks what your prescription is trying to deliver. Your cheap soap might be making your expensive medications functionally useless. No frills, no nonsense, no protection. Suave saved you $2 and cost you your skin barrier. If budget brands cut corners, surely the giant retailer store brands that copy premium formulas are getting the basics right. Not even close. Number 6. Equate. Walmart's house brand. Equate hand soaps rank among the best-selling in America for one simple reason. Walmart's staggering retail reach. Over 300 million customer visits per week flowing past shelves stacked with Equate products. Shoppers assume store brand means identical quality to the name brand for less money. That assumption has never been tested by most buyers. Independent lab comparisons have revealed a different reality. Some Equate formulations use higher concentrations of harsh surfactants and fewer moisturizing agents than the name brands they're designed to imitate on the shelf. The packaging looks right, the label reads right, the price point feels like a smart decision, but the formula inside is a stripped-down version engineered to hit a cost target, not a safety standard. For older adults on fixed incomes who depend on this brand for daily hand washing, or for families buying in bulk because Walmart makes it convenient, the cumulative drying effect is relentless and invisible. Week after week, month after month, skin loses moisture. It cannot regenerate at the pace it once did. Age-related fragility compounds the damage silently. The hands that grip walkers, open child-proof medication bottles, and prepare meals for visiting grandchildren become dried and cracked landscapes where staph bacteria and other pathogens find easy, unguarded entry. You saved 70 cents per bottle. The skin infection that follows doesn't come with a coupon. And nobody at Walmart is tracking what their cheapest formulations are doing to the most vulnerable hands, reaching for them every week. Equate copies the packaging of premium brands. They copy the colors, the claims, the shelf placement. They don't copy the protection. The imitation stops exactly where it would cost them money. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It's free, and it means you'll never miss these exposes. See the pattern forming? Budget brands cut corners. Store brands imitate the wrong things. Family brands hide behind heritage. So where does that leave the eco-friendly brands that promise to disrupt everything? Let's find out. Number 5. Method. Sleek bottles designed to sit on your counter like sculpture. Minimalist labels. Eco-conscious messaging that makes buying soap feel like an act of environmental responsibility. Method revolutionized the cleaning aisle by making products look like they belong in a design museum rather than under the sink. But design isn't formulation, and aesthetics aren't safety. Despite its pristine branding, some Method formulations contain methylisothiazolinone, the exact same allergen of the year lurking inside budget Suave, plus fragrance blends that are not fully disclosed on the label. Transparency advocates have pressed Method for complete ingredient lists. The company faced criticism for vague labeling that contradicts its entire brand identity. For a company built on the promise of openness and clean living, that hypocrisy is damning. Here's where the medical concern deepens. Your skin is your largest organ, and everything applied to it gets partially absorbed into your bloodstream. For anyone with kidney disease or reduced liver function, or for people taking multiple daily medications that already burden their filtration organs, the body becomes less efficient at processing chemical exposures that enter through the skin. Even small amounts of undisclosed irritants become a cumulative toxic burden your organs struggle to clear. Method charges premium prices for premium design. The formula inside doesn't match the promise printed outside. The eco-friendly revolution they marketed was a design revolution, not a chemistry revolution. They disrupted the soap aisle's aesthetics beautifully. They never disrupted its chemistry at all. A beautiful bottle hiding the same ugly problems as the brands it swore to replace. The premium you paid bought you a prettier container for the same risk. A lot of people switched to this next brand, thinking family heritage meant safety and accountability. They were wrong. Number 4. Palmolive. 3 generations of American families have kept Palmolive next to the kitchen sink without questioning it. The soap your grandmother used after washing dishes. The soap you watched your mother reach for before every holiday meal. That kind of multi-generational loyalty runs deep in families. Palmolive knows exactly how valuable that trust is. They depend on it. Completely. But some Palmolive liquid hand soap formulations contain cocamidopropylbutane and fragrance compounds that dermatological associations have specifically identified as common contact allergens in clinical literature. Open the bottle, that familiar green-tinted liquid, that particular scent you associate with clean kitchens and Sunday dinners, and everything safe about home. What you're actually smelling is a carefully engineered fragrance system designed to trigger nostalgia, while the allergens underneath quietly trigger chronic inflammation. For adults managing diabetes, or for anyone whose medication regimen already compromises their skin's healing ability, the chronic irritation and progressive dryness caused by these allergens can dangerously slow wound healing on the hands. Diabetic skin is already compromised at the cellular level. Blood flow to the extremities is already reduced. Hands are among the slowest healing parts of the body under the best circumstances. Add a soap that causes persistent, low-grade irritation with every use, and you've created a wound-healing crisis disguised as an act of cleanliness. Every wash after cooking dinner, every rinse before sitting down to eat, Every pump of that familiar green bottle adds another layer of chemical irritation to skin that simply cannot afford it anymore. 3 generations of trust. 3 generations of undisclosed allergens. Palmolive sells the memory of your grandmother's kitchen. Your skin pays the inheritance tax. The next brand on this list was actually flagged during a federal FDA review, and it's probably sitting under your bathroom sink right now. Number 3. Germ-X hand soap. The name promises everything. Maximum germ elimination, aggressive protection. The soap people stockpile every flu season like a chemical shield against everything invisible and dangerous floating through the air. Germ-X built its entire brand identity around being the toughest defender in the soap aisle. But aggression against germs almost always means aggression against your own skin. The brand's antibacterial formulations came under FDA scrutiny during the agency's broader review of antibacterial soap products. Some Germ-X products were found to offer no measurable clinical benefit over washing with regular soap and water. None. Zero additional germ-killing power, despite the premium price and aggressive marketing. You were paying extra for a promise that independent federal testing could not verify or support. Meanwhile, the harsh antibacterial chemicals delivering that hollow promise were actively stripping moisture from skin with every wash. For anyone over 50 dealing with age-related circulation problems, or for people whose daily medications already cause skin dryness as a listed side effect, the damage cycle accelerates invisibly. Your hands crack from the harsh formula. Germs enter through the fresh cracks. You instinctively wash more aggressively with more Germ-X because your hands feel contaminated. The cracks deepen further. The bacteria dig deeper in. The soap that marketed itself as your maximum line of defense was engineering maximum vulnerability with every pump. A false sense of medical-grade security wrapped in clinical-sounding packaging. Regular soap and water would have protected you better. Germ-X charged you extra to make your hands worse. We're not done yet. The next 2 brands might be the most disturbing entries on this entire list. Number 2. Scentworks by Body Fantasies. Bold, almost aggressive fragrances. Eye-catching plastic bottles in bright colors. Prices so impossibly low, they feel like they must be a steal. Scentworks and similar heavily perfumed discount hand soaps attract impulse buyers with maximum sensory overload at the lowest possible price point. What's actually inside those brightly colored bottles is a concentrated chemical assault on your skin. Some of the highest concentrations of synthetic fragrance compounds found anywhere on American store shelves, artificial dyes that serve absolutely no cleaning or protective purpose. Low-cost preservatives selected exclusively for extending shelf life, with no regard for skin compatibility. Minimal moisturizing ingredients, because moisture costs money and 99-cent soap doesn't have the budget for it. The entire formula is engineered for exactly one outcome: creating the strongest possible scent for the lowest possible manufacturing cost. Your skin's health isn't part of that business equation. Squeeze the dispenser. The soap is often unnaturally bright, almost fluorescent in color. The fragrance is immediate and overpowering, filling the entire bathroom before you've even finished lathering your hands. That intensity isn't luxury. It's raw chemical concentration your skin absorbs with every single wash. For people taking multiple daily medications, particularly ACE inhibitors or diuretics that already list dry skin as a documented side effect, or for families stretching budgets by buying the cheapest soap available, these products trigger severe dermatitis flare-ups that compound the damage medications are already causing. Your prescriptions dry your skin from the inside. This soap strips the remaining moisture from the outside. Caught between those two forces, your skin barrier collapses entirely. Secondary infections follow. Doctor visits follow. A product that costs 99 cents can generate hundreds in medical bills within weeks. Cheap fragrance. Expensive consequences. Drop a comment if any of these brands are sitting next to your sink right now. Let's see how many of us have been washing with the wrong soap this whole time. Number 1. The most dangerous brand on this entire list, Art Naturals. During the pandemic, fear drove every single purchasing decision in America. Hand soap became survival equipment, and Art Naturals appeared on shelves everywhere overnight, marketing its soaps and sanitizers as natural and plant-based, building enormous consumer trust at the exact moment when people were most desperate and least likely to question a label. Millions bought in, without hesitation. The branding was perfect. Clean, minimalist design. Green, botanical imagery. Words like natural and pure printed prominently on every single bottle. In the middle of a global health emergency, Art Naturals looked like exactly what frightened families needed to feel safe again. Then, in 2021, The FDA issued formal warnings that shattered that illusion completely. Independent laboratory testing found that certain Art Naturals sanitizer products contained benzene, not a borderline trace amount flagged by overzealous equipment. Benzene, a confirmed human carcinogen classified by every major health organization on Earth, a chemical directly linked to leukemia and other blood cancers in peer-reviewed medical literature, found inside a product that people were desperately applying to their hands dozens of times every single day during a pandemic because they believed it was protecting their families from harm. The company faced a wave of consumer complaints, lawsuits, and federal product recalls. Products that families had been using religiously for months. Products rubbed into children's hands before every meal. Products applied carefully before touching elderly parents in nursing homes. Products used with absolute trust by the most vulnerable people at the most vulnerable moment. For adults over 50 with weakened immune systems, or anyone undergoing cancer treatment, or families with members managing blood disorders or liver conditions, exposure to benzene-contaminated personal care products represents a direct, immediate, and serious health threat that compounds every existing medical vulnerability. Art Naturals exploited the most frightened moment in modern American life. They packaged carcinogens in botanical labels and sold people's fear right back to them as safety. Natural on the bottle, benzene in the formula. The pandemic's biggest consumer betrayal. 11 brands exposed. 11 lies sitting next to sinks across America. From Softsoap quietly stripping your moisture barrier to Art Naturals hiding a confirmed carcinogen behind pandemic panic. But not every bottle on the shelf is a threat. 2 brands prove that hand soap can still do what it promises without destroying what it touches. Safe pick 1. Dr. Bronner's Pure Castile Liquid Soap. Open the bottle, and the first thing you notice is what's missing. No synthetic perfume cloud attacking your senses. No chemical sweetness hanging in the air. Just the clean, honest, understated scent of organic oils doing exactly what soap was always supposed to do. Dr. Bronner's takes a single-ingredient focused approach built on organic, fair trade oils with no synthetic preservatives, no industrial detergents, and no chemical foaming agents anywhere in the formula. The brand holds USDA organic certification, fair trade verification, and non-GMO project certification, and publishes its complete ingredient list with total transparency. No hidden fragrance compounds buried under proprietary blends. No vague labeling to obscure what you're putting on your skin. Lather it between your hands. The texture is immediately different from everything we just exposed. It doesn't whip into an artificial foam cloud engineered to feel luxurious. It creates a smooth, slippery, honest lather that actually deposits moisture onto your skin as you wash, rather than stripping it away. Your hands feel genuinely different after rinsing. Not tight, not stripped, not desperately reaching for lotion. Just clean. For adults managing diabetes or circulation issues where skin integrity is medically critical, or for families with young children whose developing skin barriers need gentle protection, the minimal and genuinely natural formulation means virtually zero risk of contact dermatitis or allergic reaction. No interference with topical medications your doctor prescribed. No moisture barrier destruction. No micro cracks inviting infection. Dr. Bronner's costs a few dollars more per bottle than the brands we expose today. But the concentrated formula means you use far less per wash, so a single bottle lasts for months. You're not paying a premium for marketing or lifestyle branding. You're paying for soap that actually protects the skin it touches. Safe pick 2. Dove Sensitive Skin Beauty Bar. Not everyone wants a specialty product with a mission statement. Some people just want something simple and reliable that cleans their hands without causing silent damage every time they use it. Dove Sensitive Skin delivers exactly that, quietly and effectively. No added fragrance, no artificial dyes, no complicated ingredient list designed to impress wellness bloggers or Instagram influencers. Just a patented moisturizing cream blend specifically formulated to deposit moisture onto skin, rather than stripping it away during every wash. Pick up the bar and it feels heavier than you expect. That weight is the moisturizing cream built directly into the product itself. Run it under water, and the lather is mild, almost creamy in texture. It doesn't foam aggressively because it doesn't need the harsh chemical surfactants that make cheap soaps bubble dramatically. The National Eczema Association formally recommends Dove Sensitive Skin. Dermatologists across the country consistently rank it among the top cleansers in published clinical reviews. Its near-neutral pH is specifically designed to match your skin's natural acid mantle, meaning it cleans effectively without disrupting the delicate protective chemistry your skin depends on to keep pathogens out. For anyone dealing with medication-induced dry skin, thinning epidermis from aging, or compromised wound healing from chronic conditions, or for families wanting a single safe soap everyone in the household can trust, Dove Sensitive provides thorough cleaning without triggering the damage cycle we exposed in 11 other brands today. No cracking, no irritation, no barrier destruction, no hidden chemicals working against your health. It costs roughly the same as the brands we just tore apart. Same shelf price, none of the harm. That's what honest soap actually looks like. 11 brands, 11 lies, one sink that needs a change. Subscribe now, and if you're watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.